Hey guys, I want to introduce you to one of my friends, and we had a great conversation about how to read a book a day, one book a day. His name's Chris Record. He's a great guy. If you don't know him, he's an internet marketer. He does a lot of rap songs, and he's just a great guy. Matter of fact, I'll put some links to some of his videos down here below. But we had a conversation about, he was like, man, I think I could read one book a day. And I'm like, what are you talking about? One book a day? And this was our conversation. So he and I have different strategies when it comes to reading books and reading one book a day. But I want you to watch this interview about his strategy and how he approaches the concept or whatever, and how excited he was about it. And then when you come back, I'm going to explain to you my thoughts on this and what I'm actually doing that's really exciting for me, that was inspired by this conversation. Good friends, Chris Record. This guy is a massively successful entrepreneur, businessman, a guy that I've admired for so long. The stuff that he's doing online, the marketing, the ideas, the creativity. I've truly, genuinely admired you and respected you for a long time. Probably a year and a half ago, we were at a conference in San Diego, and I was like, hey dude, I have your product, Dark Post Profits. Yeah. And you were like, I have yours. Yeah. He's a good friend, he's a good guy, he's in Dallas right now. I wanted to talk to him about something a little bit controversial, I guess, that he's doing. When I set the record for the fastest to memorize a deck of cards in the United States, I did it in a very systematic way. I had a very systematic procedure, and I apply that to just about everything I read, or everything I do. Chris, what is this crazy goal that I'm not even sure I believe you when you say it, but you have a crazy goal and I don't know if it's true?
Yeah, it's 100 books in 100 days. It's a challenge to read 100 books in 100 days completely, although it doesn't apply this scientific process the way that you go through a deck of cards. And I'm just gonna come right out with it so that you guys don't just hate me for this or anything. I'm not reading the book cover to cover. To read a book cover to cover every single day for 100 days, I'm basically living out of my bed all day, every single day. But there's a process that I've developed. So you got somebody who's like scientifically engineered a process of memorization, and then you've got an average person like me. I figured out how to be able to read books, retain the information, and even teach it every single day in less than an hour a day. So I decided to say, okay, instead of just wanting to read a book, what if I set a time limit? I'm going to read this book in an hour. When the hour is done, when the alarm goes off, I'm done. There's a big difference between the way that a student learns and the way that a teacher learns. A student learns to try to get through it. A teacher learns to try to understand it so that they can communicate it to somebody else. It's a big difference. For example, one of the reasons you're so good with your memory techniques is because you have to be good, because you're an authority that goes and teaches other people. If I learn your memory techniques as a student, I don't have to be good because there's no judgment if I don't do a good job. There's no accountability. But the second that I declare myself as a memory expert or something like that, accountability's out there. Now I have to get good at this art. If I spend 8 hours reading a book cover to cover and then review it for somebody, they won't recognize or appreciate the difference than if I spend 1 hour and review it for them. So when you start to realize life is short, time is short, learn to figure out what can you do in less time. So just like I do with everything, I do daily vlogging, I make weekly music videos, I'm on YouTube every single day doing videos. The only way I can do that amount of content, on top of running a business, on top of, I have an e-commerce group that we do training every single day in, and then reading books every single day, and then I'm writing my own book, and then I'm in other cities traveling and speaking. The only way to fit all of this in every single day, I don't try to give it 100% on everything I do. I say, instead of spending 5 hours, could we do this task in an hour? Instead of spending 8 hours reading a book, could I do it in 30 minutes? When you start to think that way, you can fit more in a day, be more productive, and shorten the time frame it takes to be successful.
All right, guys, so that was Chris Record. Great guy, tons of energy. That conversation that we had that day, it just got my mind to race, and I'm like, one book a day. Could I do this? And I'm like, of course you could do this. Speed reading and memory training is what you've taught for 25, 26 years now. So my strategy is different. I have a strategy when it comes to speed reading books. I'll read the front cover, I'll read the back cover, I'll read the table of contents, and then I will speed read the book. And I like to read the book cover to cover from page 1 all the way until the end. So I started thinking, man, could I do this? Could I read one book a day, speed read it, memorize the key points? I'm like, I think I could. It would be intense, but I could do it. So what I'm going to be doing, starting maybe in about a month or so, something like that, is I'm going to be reading one book a day, speed reading it, memorizing the key points, and then creating a video at the end of the day showing you what I learned. It's going to be 60 books in 60 days. It's going to be intense. It's going to be a little different than Chris. I'm actually going to read the book cover to cover, speed read it. But the goal is the same, and that's to get knowledge in my head, to memorize it, speed read it, and teach it to you. So if you think this is a great idea, give me a thumbs up. If you want to wish me some success on this project, give me a thumbs up. Comment down below with some books that you might want me to read, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Come on, subscribe.